Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my 24 books to read by the end of 2024. This will also include all my anticipated releases that have been announced that I have managed to find out. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple that will come out later on in the year and just a couple in general because my research skills aren't that great, but from what I know, these are my anticipated releases and 24 books I have to finish by the end of this year. Last year I made a list like that. I didn't tell you guys about it because in my heart, I knew when I was making that list I wasn't going to read it. So this year, I have been smart. I have strategically made a list that I know by default I will end up reading, because I know myself better now. If you guys yourselves are looking for some fresh new titles, want to know about new books coming out, just don't know what to put on your own list, maybe this can inspire you a bit. So shall we start? Okay, first, I think I should tell you about all my anticipated releases. Some of these have already come out because, well, Jan is over. But I'm still going to tell you about them, and then after that, I'll tell you the rest of the books from my own TBR that I want to read. Okay, I have my list. Let's go. We have 2 books for 16th of Jan. Both of these are on the Desi side, on the Desi romance side. They have that special touch of home. The first one is Say You'll Be My Jan by Naina Kumar. Colleen Hoover has a comment on the front cover of this book, which definitely put me off because if you've been here for a while, you know me and Miss Hoover don't get along. But I'm happy to overlook that for now because I'm super excited to read some Desi romance in 2024. Just more Indian books in 2024 is the vibe we're going for. Our main character's parents set her up for an arranged marriage, and the guy she ends up meeting, they strike a deal with each other because the guy's mother keeps trying to set him up with women and he's not interested in that. And our main character's actual crush, or the guy who got away, is getting married and she's supposed to be the best man and she cannot go to this wedding without a date. So they strike up a deal, the fake date, I think even get fake engaged, and it's grumpy ex sunshine, and I'm so excited because it's going to be so close to home. People also say if you like the show Wedding Season, you will like this book. The other one that came out in 16th Jan was My Big Fat Desi Wedding. It's an anthology edited by Prerna Pickett. It has all the Desi wedding must-haves: good food, culture, fashion, nosy uncle and aunties, gossip, even more food, drama. It's checking all the boxes for a fun read. And on top of that, it's an anthology, which means I can read it over a period of time. I don't have to just inhale all the stories together. I might if I end up loving it that much, but I like to take my time with anthologies and savor them for a longer period of time. So we have 2 Desi wedding-ish kind of books. I have already downloaded both of these on my Kindle. Super excited. I'm gonna start reading one of them tomorrow, I believe. The next one came out 18th of Jan. It's Feybound by Sara El Arifi. Unfortunately, I haven't read anything else by the author yet, despite her books being on my radar for a while. But I'm very happy to take this as my first by the author, start off strong. People have been talking about it, people have been going crazy. I'm very ready to see what this author brings to the table. From what I understand, it seems to be about 2 sisters stuck in the world of Fae, and I haven't read a Fae story in a while. So might as well make a comeback on that trope as well. There's also some romance in there, which you know for me is a win. And you know what? People say don't judge a book by its cover, but just look at that cover. How can I not? The 3rd and 4th books on my list of anticipated releases for this year come out on the same day again, which is 6th of Feb. The first one will be Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood last year. I loved it. Love Hypothesis was one of my first romances after getting back into reading, and it was a fun time. So, now that Miss Hazelwood is putting out a vampire werewolf romance, take my money. Take it Take it. I don't want it. Just give me the book. Since my teen Wattpad years, I have been a shapeshifter girly. I have been a vampire romance, a werewolf romance girly. And I am so glad to be getting that from an author I actually enjoy. I have such high expectations, and I know that's a little dangerous, but I can't help myself. It's an enemies to lovers and a marriage of convenience. Sounds right up my alley. Let's go. Okay, I had to very quickly go double check what the hell I wrote in my notebook because I'm pretty sure the title is wrong. I've written a long song, but no, it's love. The other book that's coming out in 6th of Feb is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I have no idea what this book is about, except for the fact that the main character might be an artist who's facing a lot of pressure in her life and decides to just up and leave her whole life and restart somewhere completely different, where she ends up meeting a guy who sort of shows her what love really is. I guess. I don't know. This is what I have pieced together from all the things I've heard. I have read one other book by Tia Williams, 7 Days in June. It was beautiful. So good. One of my favorite romances, honestly. And I cannot wait to see what Miss Williams does with this one. So essentially what I'm saying is, Tia Williams, I will read it. Yeah, go, you put out books and I will read it. Then we have a 27th Feb release, A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. If you saw my last video, then you know that Daniel L. Jensen's duology, the Bridge Kingdom duology, was one of my favorite duologies of last year, just favorite books from last year. And when I knew that a new book was coming out, I didn't even really need to think about it before it went on my list. So this one is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance, and our main character Freya is in an unhappy marriage when all of a sudden one day things go really wrong for her and she's forced to reveal that she possesses a drop of a goddess's blood, which gives her like powers, and what she is called a shield maiden. When the king finds out that she possesses this magic, and he's also aware that there's a prophecy that says one day a shield maiden will unite the whole nation, he obviously binds her and makes the prince protect her because he wants to keep her around. And I believe the romance is with the prince, with the son. 9th of April is going to bring us a poetry collection by a poet I have been following for a while. I'm really looking forward to this release. I mean, all of these releases, but this one, for my poetry era, yes, I am so looking forward to this one. It's gonna be Instructions for Traveling West by Joy Sullivan. If you don't follow her on Instagram, I highly recommend it. Try out her poetry, see if it's your vibe. I truly love it. I found out about this release when she was doing an interview podcast thing, and ever since then I've been counting down the days, refreshing myself on all the stuff she's already posted. I'm very much back in my poetry writing era, and I truly believe that consuming good poetry when you're doing that is food for the soul, is food for the mind, food for the brain, food for your own creativity. The way she says it is, this poetry collection is about leaving everything behind and about finding yourself and about reinvention. There's a quote that I found that I really want to read out. First, you must realize you're homesick for all the lives you're not living. Then you commit to the road and the rising loneliness, to the sincere thrill of coming apart. I love how that sounds. A 16th April release, which was initially not on my radar, but I found out about it because of other booktubers. To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chan. Completely new author to me, but the reason I put this on my list is because apparently the main character possesses the powers of death. And she's very much initially terrified of her powers, but then I think her story arc, her character arc, is that she learns to embrace them and use them, which is right up my alley. There's also some political angles in there, and the cover is gorgeous. I really don't need to say anymore. I just want to read it. 23rd April. Mark your calendars, people. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I have a couple of Emily Henry related videos, and this will be another Emily Henry related video when Funny Story comes out. I'm so excited. I spoke about it when I vlogged my experience with Happy Place. I am gonna annotate this one as well. I'm gonna vlog it for you guys. I've heard Funny Story is a bit more on the romance heavy side for Emily Henry. Like, Emily Henry is always gonna be about the characters and their own issues and their pasts. She balances romance on the side, but from what I've heard, this one will be slightly more romantic. Daphne, our main character's fiance, ups and leaves her when he realizes that he's in love with his childhood best friend. Now she ends up being roommates with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex, which sounds hilarious to me. It's gonna be a funny story, but knowing Emily Henry, she's gonna sprinkle in those heart-clenching moments, those painful moments. It's gonna be great. She's one of my auto-buy authors. If you want to know the reason why, honestly, just go and watch any of my vlogs. I'll link them down below in the description. No pressure, Emily Henry, but also, I just know you will deliver the best. Now this next one, I don't really know when it comes out. Some people say 20th June. Some people say 4th July. But the book I'm talking about is Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel. Now, hear me out. I'm not that big of a thriller girly. If you've been around, you know that. But there's been an itch for a couple of months now to get into thriller books, to read more thrillers, and I think 2024 is the year that I become a thriller girly, she says. Yeah, we'll see what future Khushi says by the end of this year. Love Letters to a Serial Killer is gonna be a thriller, and it sounds really funny. The premise is what sold me. Hannah Wilson's life is falling apart. She just got fired. She has a sort of boyfriend, but very much considers her love life a failure. So she uses a recent murder case as a distraction. She tries to piece the puzzle together, and when the culprit is caught, she gets so angry that she starts sending him a series of letters. What she doesn't expect is that he will write back. I love novels that just involve letters and sending letters to each other. What it's called, an epistolary novel. I just love that whole concept. So it's gonna be great. And the thing is, when you read enough of a genre, you understand its tropes, you understand the way the stories go, you understand the general pattern. I don't read a lot of thrillers, which means it's gonna be completely fresh for me, and that's the thing that's exciting me the most. Then there's The Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings, who is part of our community, you guys. Go check out her stuff if you haven't already. She is coming out with a novel this year, and it sounds genuinely so freaking cool. It's the first of a juicy fantasy duology set in Jazz Age Harlem. We have vampires, we have a sapphic romance, we have two girls who used to be best friends but then became enemies and now are sort of forced to work together on something. And I don't need to say more. I really don't. Just, oh my god, I can't wait. Can't wait. I know. It's gonna be good time. Okay. I'm getting sidetracked. Then the September of 2024, I don't have a specific date yet, we have the second installment, The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This one's going to be called Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and it's going to continue right after where we were left off in the previous book, but in the point of view of the headmaster of the orphanage, Arthur. This was one of my first cozy fantasy novels, and I'm excited to see the kids again and to actually see the relationship flourish, because in the last book we only got to see them to the point where they got together, not after. And this one's going to be coming out exactly around the time of when I schedule my cozy reading for the year. Perfect timing. Alright, so with that, I've caught you up on all the anticipated releases for this year, and now I'm gonna fill in the rest of the 24 with certain books from my TBR that I really want to read this year. First one, you're gonna yell at me for this one, because I told you I would be reading it for my end of year book tag, and I didn't. I just didn't find the time, you guys. Can you guess which one it is? It's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Forget being late to the party. I completely missed the party. The second book is out. I RSVP'd and I didn't go. So now I'm just making up my own little party so I can read this book. I don't need to tell you much about this. This book basically took BookTok, BookTube, and Bookstagram by storm. So there's dragons, there's action, there's romance. I hope I love it as much as everyone else. The vlog will be coming soon. The next book I want to read is a Carissa Broadbent book. It's Serpent and the Wings of Night. I know nothing about this book except that we have vampires, and I have read her other series. Well, the first book of her other series, and loved it enough to know I will read all her books. It sounds very much up my alley. When others talk about their reviews, I nod my head saying, yes, girl, that's me. Then we have another TJ Klune book. This is the only author I am repeating in my list. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because I own this book and I have it here physically with me. Oh well, why not? It's In the Lives of Puppets. I finally have the paperback version, and look at that cover. She's gorgeous. This one's an adult fantasy novel, and from what I've heard, it's like this dystopian Pinocchio reimagining, but with a sci-fi spin. It's about a human and a bunch of robots making a found family and on this sort of quest. I love it. I don't really know completely what to expect, but I know it's going to be slightly on the adventurous side, and I think TJ Klune always just gives that little bit of cozy in his books. So, second half of the year, here I come. Another book that came out last year, and to be honest, it wasn't that hyped up. It received some hype because, well, the author and also the series that it's a spin-off from. I told myself I'd read it. I bought the book as soon as it came, and then I got scared because this is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, and it is a spin-off from her Kingdom of the Wicked series. And mind you, the third book, Kingdom of the Feared, wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't enjoy it that much. It let me down because the series started off strong for me and didn't end that way. And Envy as a character, who Throne of the Fallen is going to be following, he's going to be our main character now. I really like him. I think he's a very complex, nicely set up character with quite a bit of potential, and I don't want to be let down. But you know, I have to conquer this fear. I have to know for sure so that I can get it out of my mind. So 2024 is going to be the year I read Throne of the Fallen. Then for all my Danmei lovers, if you watch my Heaven Officials Blessing vlog, and if you commented on that, then rest assured, my friends, I heard you. I heard you loud and clear. Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation and Scum Villain's Self-Saving System is on the list. I'm gonna read both of these series. Yes, I mean series. I will read the whole series by MXTX. Both of them this year. I read Heaven Official's Blessing. There's a giant gaping Danmei hole in my life. Just an MXTX hole in my life, and this is how I'm going to cope with it. But I'm not going to be saying too much about that right now because specific vlogs for these will be coming. You don't understand. After Heaven Official's Blessing, I'm ready to dive deeper, spiral harder, and just go crazy. Then there's also Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This one's not very much like on the very top of my list for this year. But I mean, I'm caught up with the rest of the series, like Akotar and Crescent City. Throne of Glass is the only one I haven't even started, so I might read Assassin's Blade or Throne of Glass this year. We'll see. You guys will know. You guys will know. Moving on to a Greek retelling I have been sleeping on because I am terrified of just how much people love this book, and I want to love it just as much, but what if I don't? Maybe I shouldn't be so negative, but I am going to be reading Cersei by Madeline Miller this year. I'm doing it. I'm making it a promise. You can hold me accountable. I am going to read Cersei this year. It's happening. No excuses, no running away, nothing. It's happening. If you want a vlog for it, let me know. But one way or another, it's gonna be read. This next one, I can thank Throne of Pages again. Bella going absolutely crazy about this author, about this book, is what made me buy it. She even, I think, like annotated it and showed us excerpts of it. Naturally, just more and more works from this author or lines from this book started showing up on my feed, and Here we are, we're going to be reading Letters to a Young Poet by Raina Maria Rilke. Letters to a Young Poet? Who? Me? He's talking to me. Of course he's talking to me. I believe the book centers on correspondence between Rilke and a young poet and explores the art of poetry and the human experience. It says, Rilke's letters offer timeless wisdom and guidance for aspiring poets, emphasizing the importance of self-discovery, patience, and a deep appreciation for life's complexities. I need all of that right now, like all of it. Sign me up. If you know or you don't, I have just finished my BA in acting. I've been doing theater and drama and acting for a couple of years now. I'm very much reading theater plays girly, and I saw an excerpt of Don Juan a couple months back, and then I saw like a video of a performance. And ever since then, there's a part of me that's been curious. And when I was in a bookstore a couple weeks after I saw these, I came across the Oxford World's Classics edition of Don Juan and other plays by Molière, and I decided to get it. I'm curious about it, and surely it will only add to my knowledge and add to me as a human being. I'm curious though. I've never read anything by this playwright. I've never even seen anything by this playwright. It's going to be a completely new experience for me. And some of these are like big titles that I've heard of. So let's go. The second last book is another book down the classics but classical theater lane, and it's a bit more closer to home than Molière. It is the selected poetry and drama of Kalidasa for the 21st century reader. This also includes a version of Shakuntala, which was the first Indian drama that was translated into a Western language, and is also overall judged as the best Indian literary effort of any period. Look at that. Look at that. Now, you're gonna ask me who's Kalidasa. Right. He is basically known as the Shakespeare of India. He was a classic Sanskrit poet, Sanskrit being a language in India, one of our older ones. He was known as the greatest poet and dramatist of the Sanskrit language in India. I think I need to research a bit more on this. I don't know why he's called the Shakespeare of India, because I think he existed long before Shakespeare existed. I might be getting it the other way around though. I'm not 100% sure. I'll follow up on that. But if it is the way I'm thinking of it, then it's a bit strange, because Shakespeare should be known as Kalidasa of England. I don't know. Like I said, I'll follow up on that one. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, let's randomly open a page. To make words meaningful, I invoke Shiva Parvati, which are two Hindu gods, makers of the world like word and meaning wed. Ooh. Ooh! Oh, I just understood what that meant. Finally, the book I want to finish this year, because I did start it in 2023, but I couldn't finish it then. I'm taking my time with it, very much learning from it at my own pace. It is Unmasked by Ellie Middleton. The way I tell people about this book, it's a non-complicated guide to understanding neurodivergence. The author talks us through her own experiences of being an autistic ADHDer. She's also done a lot of research and spoken to a lot of doctors and people who are knowledgeable in the field, and she sort of puts all of that together and presents it to us in a way that will actually be easy for us to take in, especially if we suspect that we are neurodivergent as well. It's been a really easy read and very insightful too. Would definitely recommend it if you're trying to understand a bit more about ADHD and autism, whether it be for yourself or to be an informed ally. Anyway, it works. I think I've read only 30% of this book. I want to finish it in 2024. With that, oh gosh, I'm sweating and my back hurts. Oof. We did it. We did it. My list is over. Thank you for staying, if you have stayed for this long. I hope you got some useful titles out of my list. Let me know which books you've read, which books you're looking forward to reading in the comments down below, or just hit me up on Instagram. I am super excited for the reading year ahead. I have lots of hopes and dreams. I wish you a wonderful reading year yourself. And with that, I am going to say sayonara now. I'm going to say stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. And I'll see you very, very soon in the next one.